Welcome to Heal the World Show, brought to you by the Healing Institute. I'm Permelia Parham. I am the founder and the CEO of the Healing Institute, and we are so excited to talk to you every week and bring you information about how you can heal, how you can be well, and how you can stay well on your health journey, because we're all on a health journey. So we're actually bringing healing to the world. The Healing Institute is a online worldwide hub of holistic practitioners. And we are available for people who are looking for alternative ways to be well and stay well on their health journey. We want to give people hope. We want people to know there are other ways that they can be well and that they can increase their health and be as healthy as possible. So I've studied healing and wellness for well over 20 years. I've used holistic ways myself for over 20 years. And I designed the Healing Institute because I'm passionate about creating a proactive wellness society. I believe we've been a reactive illness society for way too long. So we need to be more proactive, and we need to do that as an individuals as well as a society, as a whole. So, why is this important to me? Well, we had a tragedy in our family a few years ago in that my mother passed away at age 61. And this was due to some complications that she had because of a medication she had been on for over 20 years. Not once did her, in those 20 years, did her doctor ever tell her that the side effects of this medication could be kidney failure. So unfortunately, we lost her just before Christmas. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And it's not just a tragedy that she died so young, but also that my children didn't get to meet their grandmother. And I don't want that happening to anybody else. So that's my why. That's why the Healing Institute is really, really important for us to spread the word and let people know that we are available. And on the Heal the World show every week, we invite a guest co host. And I'm so excited to have Melissa Deely today talking about the theme for April. We've decided was World Health, because there are so many things going on. There was Wellness Day. I believe it was April the 7th. There was World Autistic Day, April the 2nd. There was World Breathing Day, April the 11th. So I thought, okay, the theme for April is going to be World Health. So, Melissa, lovely to have you. Tell us a little bit about you. I was going to tell people that you actually are a mind body health practitioner, trainer with NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. And Melissa also has a podcast, which is really cool. It's called Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call. And I have actually been interviewed by her on that. So, Melissa, tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you, Permelia. I am very excited to be here because, of course, I agree 100% with everything you have said. Our views about our ability to be empowered in our health and take proactive action are so aligned. And I love to say that chronic illness doesn't have to be a life sentence. And yet, unfortunately, that's what many people hear when they go to the doctor and they get told, well, here's the pill that you need to take for the rest of your life, as in the case of your mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they know. That's what their studies teach them. However, there is a whole other side, and that is the holistic side of wellness. And there are many ways to heal, as you have said. And so, like you, I want to get that message out and have people understand that. Our acute care medical system in the first world is excellent. If you're in a car crash, if you break your leg, if you need immediate support, that system is excellent. However, it is failing us when it comes to chronic illness. And chronic illness is at near epidemic levels. And there are three main causes of chronic illness, and they are our toxic load, our nutrient depletion, because we have nutrient depleted soil systems, we're not getting enough nutrients, excuse me, to support our body to be able to
Mm-hmm.
thrive, and our stress levels. Those three factors in the physical body are what trigger chronic illness. There's also emotional and mental toxicity that I address as well in our mental and emotional bodies. However, in the physical body, those factors are not really being addressed by most doctors. And that's why their answer to chronic illness of giving you a pill for every ill isn't working. When we reduce the toxic load through functional medicine detoxes, when we understand what nutrients your body is depleted in and bring your body back up to a sufficiency level of nutrients, your body can thrive and it's in balance so it can start to heal. And when we adjust our stress and reduce and get out of chronic stress, that's the only state where the body can heal. So it's very simple. We know exactly what we need to do, and there's multiple ways to do that, and people just need to know.
I love the way you explained that, Melissa. Thank you so much. Because we often think that we don't have any control over how our bodies work. And that is so not true. And I
Mhm.
know you and I are both voracious readers, so we're always, listening to YouTube videos, and we're reading books, and we're getting the knowledge for us to then pass that on to our own personal clients. But we also want to let other people know that it's available, and our bodies are pretty amazing.
They are.
If they're given the right conditions, we can heal ourselves. And there's lots of testimonials out there, different people that have healed themselves in different levels. And we
Absolutely.
need to get that
Bodies,
information. Yeah, get that
yeah, our
information
bodies
out.
are designed to self-heal. The problem is if we're too depleted, then and we're too toxic, it can't do it. I consider we're out here, we're out of balance, we're hanging on, just trying to get through every day, right? Because we're stressed out, we got work, we got kids to get to soccer practice and swimming and gymnastics and you name it, and we're not sleeping enough because there's one more thing to do. And yet when we bring the body back here with all the nutrition and nutrients that it needs, and we take the time to get good restorative rest, because that's when the body detoxes, that's when our mitochondria recharge, that's when our body can start to heal. When we do that, the body is designed to heal itself. We're just living out of balance. And it's not actually that hard to bring ourselves back into balance. And so I run functional medicine lab tests that get mailed to people's homes so that we can see exactly what is going on inside the body, what are the toxicities, where is the body out of balance. So then we know exactly what to do to guide the body back into balance. And it's not a magic fix. It doesn't happen overnight. However, we work together over 3 to 6 months, depending what shows up in those labs, in order to bring the body back into balance. And people might think, oh, that's a long time, 3 to 6 months. And my question to you is, how long has it taken you to get to where you're at now? Because you
Exactly.
didn't go to bed last night perfectly healthy and wake up this morning and have some diagnosis of illness. Your body has been slowly brewing whatever dis-ease you have of the body over the last 3 months, 6 months, year, 5 years. For people with Alzheimer's and dementia, you can have that for 20 to 30 years before you ever get a diagnosis. So 3 to 6 months is a very short window to bring your body back into balance so that you can truly thrive. And while doing that, you get the education to understand how to stay in this place of balance and to have the awareness when you fall off. Because, we all fall off. We're human. But you can get back on when you realize you've fallen off and bring yourself back into balance because you have the tools and the know-how to be able to do that forevermore for you and to teach your loved ones. So this is generational learning for people, which I love.
I do too. And it's so important, I believe, that we have this information, and it is out there. A lot of people just don't ask. And that's one of my big go-tos. Be curious. If you're being recommended a procedure or a medication of some kind, ask some questions. Ask what the side effects are. Ask if is there another way for me to achieve what I want to achieve, well, without having to do this procedure, or about having to go on this medication. You and I both have looked at the advice we got from sort of the mainstream medical system, and we both in different ways have said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, I was recommended to go on I don't want to use the words, but anyway, it was a medication that was supposed to keep me in balance. And I did, because I know the side effects of this particular medication. And so I said no. And I said, I know how to, you know, get my cholesterol lower, how to get my blood sugars lower. I know the things I haven't been doing that I do need to do, and I need to get back on track and do those kinds of things. And sure enough, as soon as I did that, my body readjusted, and I didn't need that medication. But oftentimes we've put our power, I think, over the last number of years in into the medical society, that we've actually given our power away. So we
Yes,
we think that other people can fix us, and we
exactly.
really look at, we can fix ourselves given the
Yes.
right conditions. I'm just
And
going to quickly say
you,
hello to Marie Piplovic. She's popped on here this morning saying, good morning, ladies. So good to see you, Marie. And Tina Silva Blees is also here. She says, yes, for sure. So true. So she's obviously agreeing with us. Tina was on the podcast last month, and she was looking at environmental health, which
yes,
was really cool. Yes. So
beautiful. So you say a lot of things there that are, I agree with. Again, we give up our power to another human being. And to me, that puts a lot of responsibility on that person. And we expect them to fix us. We're not broken. We just need to figure out where we're out of balance. And I've had a few doctors come on my podcast. And I remember when one of them, we were having a conversation, and I said, when you go to the doctor, they tell you what to do. They never give you an do this or that. There's never an option. It's just, this is what you do. And he kind of laughed and he goes, you should write a book, and that should be the title of your book. Do this or. Because there's we've said, there's so many ways to heal that it should never be just one thing. And then I had another doctor come on the show, and this is a chiropractic doctor actually from Victoria, BC. And he was looking at insurance information and talking about, to your point about cholesterol. First off, if you have high cholesterol, ask why. It wasn't high 5 years ago. What's changed,
it
right?
wasn't high 6 months ago. Now what happened?
Exactly. Exactly. So why are we suddenly being put on a pill? Why don't we go, okay, what's changed? And let's change it back. And that was really, you talked about your bigger why earlier. That was part of my journey years ago when I always got a migraine at the start of my cycle. And I knew that it was obviously related to my cycle, and that was fine. I could live with it. And I didn't know I could do anything to balance my hormones more at that time. So I didn't. Now I know that that's a sign of my hormones being out of balance. And when I balance them, I don't even get migraines then. However, at one point I got migraines every day for a week. So I went to my doctor asking, why? Why am I getting it every day? That's different. And if I know why that's happening, then I can change something so I don't get them. And she had no answer for me except a stronger medication. And I was like, I don't want a stronger medication. I want to know why. So I continued figuring it out. And you know what it turned out to be? At work, we'd been asked and given headsets to wear because I was in sales for a hotel company at the time. And when I just kind of randomly went, I wonder if it's a headset, took the headset off, stopped wearing it, no more migraines. It was squeezing my head. It was simple as that, right? If I'd accepted the medication, how long would I have been on that medication and kept the headset for years, right? And I just said to work, I'm sorry, I can't wear this headset. It hurts. It gives me a migraine. Never wore the headset again. Didn't get migraines, right? So sometimes the answers are so simple, but we do have to do a little bit of investigation. I call myself, the detective, and we remove one thing and see if that helps, and we remove another until we figure it out. So it can take a little bit of time. And it's so worth it, because what would the side effects of that medication been? So that was one thing. But coming back to the doctor in Victoria, his information was fascinating. He said if you have two people whose blood work is absolutely identical, right? But one of them's on medication that's holding them in that holding pattern of that blood work. And the other person is perfectly healthy and they just have good blood work, right? How does the insurance company treat those two people? They charge far more to the person who's on medication because they do not consider that person to be a healthy person. And they're going to cost them more down the road. They already know they're going to cost them more money down the road. So that person's premiums and everything else cost more. And yet that's our medical solution to someone's problem. And the insurance industry goes, yeah, that's not a solution. We're going to charge them a lot more because they're not healthy. Isn't that fascinating? I just thought that was a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I invite people, as you said, get curious, ask why. And I love to share that our symptoms are our body's way of talking to us.
Absolutely.
And society teaches us to push through, to accept that as you get older, that you're going to have more aches and pains in your joints and your muscles. And so people, I hear it all the time. Oh, getting old sucks. I have all these aches and pains and da. And they accept
and I just have to live with it. I have to live with these aches and pains. And I go, no, you don't.
Exactly. You don't. That's a symptom. So ask, why do I have these aches and pains? I take people through detox programs all the time. And very often their aches and pains and their muscles and joints go away as soon as we get all those toxins out, which is causing inflammation and causing the aches and pains. So society,
and I think that's a really good point, Melissa, is people don't understand often that they're having that ache and pain because of the inflammation that's in their body. It's not something we're taught. By the way, be aware of the inflammation that's in your body and reduce that inflammation. And guess what? The ache and the pain goes away.
Exactly. And so question those symptoms. A lot of people will write symptoms off as allergies. Well, a lot of allergies are triggered by an unhealthy gut. And if we heal up your gut, those allergies won't happen anymore. And the other one is blaming things on genetics. Well, epigenetics says that it's only 5 to 10% of our genetics that are a factor in our health outcomes. 5 to 10%.
I know, and that has been, I think, something that we have followed or been taught that if it's in your family genetics, your parents or your grandparents, then you're going to get it. I know when we were first exploring diabetes, which was in my family, my grandparents got it later in life. My mother got it later in life. So I had a predisposition to be a diabetic. And that was one of the reasons that
it's a predisposition. It is nothing more. However, the languaging is exactly what you mentioned a moment ago. You're going to get it. That's what you heard your doctors tell you, right?
That's right.
It's a predisposition. And that is impacted by your lifestyle choices, which are 90 to 95% of the factors here. So if you make the right lifestyle choices, you never have to get whatever you're predisposed to. And that's powerful because that puts you in the driver's seat of your health outcomes. And when you have the knowledge to understand the lifestyle changes you can make so that you don't get diabetes, you don't have high cholesterol, you don't have heart disease, et cetera, you can look after your body such that the switch to those diseases doesn't get turned on.
I know. And I love that because we're getting more and more new, what I call new science, which the information is coming to sort of mainstream society to say this is what's happening. And I know you and I are like, we're like alert whenever there's new science. We're right there trying to find out what it's all about. I just want to acknowledge Tom White. He's popped on saying, good morning from Canada. I'm not quite sure where you are in Canada, Tom, but we're happy to have you here, as Melissa and I are both in Canada. Marie said, isn't it interesting how we doubt our own intuitive knowing? Very true. Very true. And Marie also got another comment here. She says, I'm always learning experientially that when I feel out of balance, it is a message. And when I listen to that message, I actually intuitively know what I need to do or focus. And maybe it's an emotional clearing to resolve something, resolve an issue. She's got another great. I spent 10 days listening to several family members talking about all the aging issues and genetic issues and telling me to just wait. And I smiled inwardly, knowing that I have tools to change that pattern. Oh, Tom's from Winnipeg. Okay, we're happy to have you here, Tom. And that
Beautiful,
is so
Marie. I
true.
love that.
And that is it's a point I want to make about the Healing Institute. All of our practitioners that are on the Healing Institute, of which Marie is one, they look for the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
They ask the questions to find out what is the root cause. Why are you having this physical pain or issue, discomfort? Why are you having this mental anguish? Why are you having this emotional upset? We look at what is the root cause, what is causing that, not just the fact that it's a symptom, and we're going to band-aid the symptom. And I think that certainly has happened for way too long.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to come back to your comment earlier about both of us making choices for ourselves.
Yes.
And as you're aware, I've recently gone through this where I was diagnosed with melanoma in the lower part of my right leg. And it was invasive melanoma. And I went down to Vancouver for what I thought was surgery to have the mole removed, because 11 years ago, I had this in my elbow and that's what it was. However, this time when I got there, I discovered, no, I was just meeting with the surgeon and the surgeon was going to outline the plan. And she told me that she felt that I needed to have some lymph nodes removed in order to assess whether it had spread and to then determine my chemo and radiation protocol, et cetera, et cetera. And I needed to first go to St. Paul's Hospital to be flooded with radiation so they could determine which lymph nodes they were going to be removing, and they were going to be removing 3 or 4. And then she started telling me the side effects of all of that. And I just looked at her and said, no, I like my lymph nodes where they are. Thank you very much. And I'm not flooding myself with radiation. I don't believe that is necessary at this point in the treatment. So she said, well, I'm going to give you some information and you need to read about this. And per a database in Australia, there's a 9% chance that this is, spread. And per a database in New York, it's 12%. And so this 9 to 12%, I really think you should do it. That's my recommendation. And I said, well, I'm going to think about it and I will get back to you. And I didn't sign the waiver for that part of the surgery. I did sign to have the mole removed. And then they booked me in at St. Paul's, and St. Paul's called me for my appointment. And I said, I'm not coming. Thank you. 9 to 12%. That's a really low number. It's not.
That's not that bad.
It's not 59%.
Take those odds. Thank you very much.
Exactly. That's where I was at. And I came home and I talked to my husband. I'm like, based on everything I know, I really want to keep my lymph nodes where they are. I talked to another medical doctor locally who she says, I'm the first one not to write a prescription and write a supplement prescription. And she initially said, well, you don't muck around with melanoma. If they're telling you should do it, you should do it. And then she goes, but I know you. What are you thinking? So I told her all of the things that I was going to do. I was going to work with a new German medicine practitioner because I know that this is reared its ugly head because of unresolved emotion that I need to release from my body. And so we worked through figuring out what that was. And then I did some timeline therapy of my own with a practitioner to remove that from my body. I worked with an energy healer to also help remove the actual melanoma from my body, not just the toxic emotion. And through all of this, I felt really confident that I did some high dose vitamin C just to give my body that extra boost. I'm doing, mushroom matrix and supporting my immune system. And I just decided I'm not doing this. However, I really did feel the pressure of the system.
Oh,
and
yes.
That was the first time that I felt that pressure. And I likened it to being at the top of a luge track where they put you on and you just go straight down and there is no exit. And I really had to stand my ground. And I had to meet with the 2 surgeons about 10 days before my surgery. And I met with the plastic surgeon first. And I told her, I'm not taking the lymph nodes. Therefore, I don't believe I need to go under general anesthesia. I'd like to do this as local. And she said, well, it's a pretty big incision, probably not local, but we could talk about a nerve block. And I said, okay. Then I spoke to the other surgeon and I said to her, I'm not doing the lymph node biopsy. And And she said, I have to let you know that's not my recommendation. I said, I understand that, but I'm not doing it. And I already spoke to the other surgeon, and this is what we're doing.
Mhm.
And you're busy, and you probably have other people you can serve, so you don't actually need to be at the surgery. And she said, okay, that's fine. I appreciate that. In the end, she was on call. She was at the surgery. And the beautiful thing was that I got to do this entire surgery my way. And I was able to educate them and introduce them to some different approaches. And so I used Newcom sound healing frequencies in lieu of anesthesia, because they normally give you anesthesia to do the nerve block, which I hadn't
Right.
realized. And I just used my healing frequencies. And that doctor was very open to that and said, if you need it, if you change your mind, let me know. I can give you something. And whatever she was offering had fentanyl in it. And I'm like, yeah, I
Oh,
don't think I want
Lordy.
that. And I didn't need it. And then the anesthetist came to talk to me about what I wanted during surgery. And I said, nothing. I'll use my sound frequencies. And he goes, okay, I'm here if you need it. Most people, they want something. And I'm like, I think I'm good. I was fine during this procedure. I didn't need anything during the surgery. And when I went into the OR, they said, how are you? I said, you know what? I'm great, because my brain is awake and my leg is asleep. And that's how I want this to be. And the sound frequencies then drop me into the theta state, which is the healing state, right? So what better
Which
place to
again
be?
is great information, because we don't, mainstream society doesn't understand about how being in that theta state helps with the healing. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Thank you for
And with
saying
the
that.
pain and with the surgery. Back in the Indo-British War, they were using hypnosis and bringing people down into the theta state to operate on the soldiers, because they didn't have anesthesia back then. And when they introduced that, they were saving lives in a massive way, because previously, when they had nothing, 95% of the soldiers were dying after surgery. And when they
Yes,
started
the
doing it,
trauma to the body.
exactly, when they started bringing the body and the brain into that trance theta state, 50% were surviving. That's massive. So I knew this, and that's why I wanted to do this for myself. And the surgery was great. They all accommodated my wishes. And then at the end, the discharge nurse was at the end of my bed when they took me out into the main room again. And then she was looking at her computer and she goes, wait a minute, you didn't have any anesthesia for your surgery? And I said, no, I didn't. I used my Newcom sound frequencies that I've recently come across. And she goes, wow, I've never seen that before. This is the easiest discharge ever. I don't have to have you sign any waivers. I don't have to give you an information booklet. You can get dressed and go home. And it wasn't until that moment that I realized what a big deal it was, because I thought, well, I had the nerve block. It's no big deal that I also use the sound frequencies. But when she said she'd never seen that before, I realized, okay, that's pretty cool. And the anesthetist, I thanked him at the end of the surgery, and he came back to my bed to check on me. And he said, what are you thanking me for? I didn't do a single thing for you. I said, yes, you did. You let me do this my way. And that matters. Because they could have said, no, absolutely not. You can't have your phone. You can't have your earbuds. You can't have any of that in surgery. We're not allowing this, blah, blah, blah. And one of the OR nurse tried to do that. Everybody else said, no, she's allowed. So I did things differently, and they allowed it. And I really appreciated that, because that paves the way for others to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that you have educated that group, that team. So now they can now be available and awake and know more information in the event that that happens for other people.
And there was
So
9 people in my care that day, and every single one of them learned this. And afterwards, I sent them a thank you email. I hope they all got it. I didn't obviously have all their email addresses, so I had to send it through the 2 surgeons' offices and ask them to share it. And I sent them information about those sound frequencies as well, just for them to know. And for those that are interested, they might look into it further.
well, and certainly, for the nurse that was discharging you, that made her job way easier.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we know that our hospitals are overcrowded and that they're lined up. People are lined up or in beds in the hallways. So
Yes.
anything that can make a smoother transition is
And
very,
cost
very
savings,
good.
because there's a cost
Cost
to whatever the anesthesia would have been that they would have given me that I didn't have, right? And cost savings because they didn't have to do the biopsy and I didn't have to go and do the fill me full of radiation in order to determine which lymph nodes they were taking out. There was quite a few steps there where I actually saved them money, and I'm very happy about my outcome because my healing is faster as a result of
Absolutely.
the choices I've made.
Well, thank you for sharing that story, Melissa, because I think that gives people another option, an opportunity. As Marie says here, my body, my choice.
Yes,
And so she also is very happy that loves that you stood up for your own health and your own body. And we have to do that. I believe
we
we
do.
do. We do have to
We
do
do.
that.
Yes.
So I'm just going to run a few things here. So this is Melissa's integrate. She's an integrative mind body health practitioner. I'm going to just say where you can connect with her. But those of you who popped on the show today, and we do a replay in the afternoon, and so more people will pop on. We will send you this information, how to connect with Melissa, what I'm just running now, how to connect with her, and she has a little gift for you. So it is a discover your toxic load quiz. So you can do a little quiz and find out where your toxic load is, and then reach out to Melissa because she's got some amazing detoxing programs that she helps people with. So you know what? We're at the end of the of our show. It just went so fast today, but we had lots of information, and we really do want people to know about the ways we can be well and stay well, from a holistic point of view. So we have a big ask. We want you to let people know about the Healing Institute. We want you to let people know about Heal the World Show podcast every Friday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we have a big ask, but we're up for it. So we definitely want to tell people about all the amazing practitioners that we have at the Healing Institute, and also the amazing people that we meet and have as co-hosts on the show. And you met another one today, Melissa Dealey. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you for having me, Permelia.